You another video to promote my book Meta-Dimensional. So telling some pieces about it, sharing some stuff, small pieces. So you probably think that the reality you perceive is three-dimensional. It looks three-dimensional, right? Well, see, there's a problem with that. Well, yes, there are three spatial dimensions in perception. But forget right now that you don't know exactly what the reality that is producing perception, like the thing that you perceive, what's its dimensional complexity, even spatial dimensional complexity in the sense that it has spatial dimensions. I mean, it's not the reality you perceive, it's the thing that produces it, and you don't know what that is. You can't perceive it. It's not part of the reality that you call physical. Like, it simply doesn't consist of tables and chairs. It consists of something else, or may consist of something else, may consist also of tables and chairs, but you don't know. So you think you're seeing like a three-dimensional reality, but I think that's wrong. So look, yes, you perceive the three dimensions, but is that what you perceive? Is your perception a collection of objects? Is your that's a wrong. I'm already telling by asking it this way. Are there objects in your perception, like separately? I don't know. So when you perceive reality, you perceive a perspective. You perceive something that binds the things that are in perception with your point of origin. That's the only way you perceive this stuff, like the reality you perceive. You don't notice this, but if you look at someone in front of you, they perceive the reality from a different point of origin. And the objects in reality, insofar there are objects, they change the way they manifest depending on who perceives them. So it's not like if I look at the front side of a television, I can see what's going on in the broadcast, and if I look in the back end of a television, I don't. And it changes depending on the perspective. So it's not like I can perceive reality as objects. I perceive it as perspective, and perspective adds another bit of information. Like, so if you have the elements themselves that are three-dimensional, they sustain another relation, and that's with you. So what you perceive are perspectives, not objects independent roaming in some ether that is not in your perception, that you don't experience. This is all one thing, and more than that, it puts you experience as part of the world that it perceives. So you might think, okay, yeah, so maybe reality is actually four-dimensional, with perspective being like the point of origin being another dimension. And unfortunately or not fortunately, it's more complicated than that, because that's not what you perceive either. You don't just perceive reality as just information. You perceive it as potential, as the potential of how reality would progress next. if you you can, some of these, the ways that you perceive it would be simply by following what physical, what the laws of nature would make it, would change it. Like, for example, if you see a cup that's about to fall, you can reconstruct the trajectory of the falling glass and know that you have to reach for it and prevent it from falling and breaking. But you can also think about abstracts and ignore that perspective, that wakeful perspective, that the way the wakeful reality changes according to the laws of nature, and think about other things. And you do that on top of, while perceiving the perspective of physical reality, as far as you used to call it. I call it wakeful reality. So it's actually more than, it's at least 5 dimensions, because you have to include also the way the perspectives change as part of perception. So your perception is not of a 3-dimensional world, it's not of a 4-dimensional world, it's at least 5 dimensions. 3 dimensions to describe the contents, 4th dimension to merge it into one reality, and a 5th dimension to start thinking about how that reality changes, and understanding changes, understanding the dynamic nature of this reality, not just as a slideshow of states, but as a connection between states, relations between states, forms between states. Yes, these 5 or more dimensions are not necessarily part of objective reality, whatever that means, but they might be. And I would say more than that, the brain, insofar whatever it is, has the capacity to change how you think and what you pay attention to and the contents of. So it basically means that the body that gives you your perception is streaming reality to you, but with at least 5 dimensions. And the more you think about it, the more you realize how insufficient is your initial description, my initial description, for reality as 3-dimensional. I'm not going even to go into 4-dimensional, as if that's even relevant, like the time dimension, as if that's relevant. No, not really. But that's a different topic.